Well, greetings everybody, and welcome to this week's Metaworld news. These are our highlights for the week ending the 27th of January of the year 2019. It seems like the new year just happened, but this time next week we'll be already in February, so go figure. And then we'll have all the festivals and stuff coming up in March and April. I don't know at all.
Yeah.
Anyway, this show is we bring you news about social virtual worlds, basically virtual worlds you can participate in, have events, collaborate, explore, anything you can imagine in the real world and more besides almost. But we also cover a little bit about virtuality and, well, actually human and computer interfacing, new interfacing tools that may not be related to social virtual worlds, but certainly enhance our experiences thereof. So, my name is Mal Burns. I'm joined here by James Atloud, who's also handling all our camera systems. So,
Hi,
say
Mel.
hello to James.
Yep. Hello.
Yay! Yes. And you can follow me. You can follow me, that is, on Twitter at twitter.com/. Mal Burns. On Twitter, it's all one word, Malburns, no space in the middle, unlike real life. We also have a second Twitter feed, which is twitter.com/Metaworld News. Again, all one word. Um, my own feed is the more general sort of interfacing kind of thing, and the MetaWorld news feed is more about the actual. It comes and goes in social virtual worlds. So I'm going to look at some of the highlights here. Um, you will see snippets of this information on screen. Thanks to James. I am broadcasting from Flipboard, which is my way of actually, it's the place I store the highlight items that I want to record for this show, basically. And so you can see it um, for yourself, so to speak. Okay, all the ones on the current page actually say they're a week old, but when things say a week here, it's a bit unreliable. It could be 6 days or 8 days, or. I'm going to mention some of them maybe again. Real Matt's Qian, that's Qian, is a light, fully wireless headset
Hmm.
for AR and VR. You can find more about that at uploadvr.com. CERN engineers have created something called C-Real 3D, which is a light field display of mega proportions. It is not consumer friendly yet, but it is actually smaller than the Large Hadron Collider, which was something else they did, which is rather bigger. but nevertheless, this hardware is definitely a
Hmm.
clunky piece of hardware as yet. But light field rendering is probably the future. So keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
Also, a report Facebook launching some up and coming augmented reality glasses. And well, wouldn't they just. But apparently they're much less bulky than either the HoloLens or Magic Leap. And of course, people quote the HoloLens and Magic Leap as the kind of lightweight things at the moment. But as we've seen, there are some things around that are just about more like real glasses. We had a couple last week, and we've got another pair this week. In a minute when I get to them. Right, road to VR, or one word.com, Ben Lang reporting. A company called Scape Technologies has raised 8 million US dollars for visual positioning system, which could be a key component of the augmented reality metaverse. This is like a minute pinpointing of things in real life, as it were. But that data could actually be sent to what we used to call a mirror world. And by extension, the technology could have applications eventually when it comes to like in virtual reality too. For example, where you want augmented and virtual to be aspects of the same thing. If you see what I mean. Okay, I'm changing the page again before I get myself in a mess. Oh yeah, I know I did this one. I got it last week. I can remember the headline: Time Warp, Space Warp, Reprojection, Motion Smoothing Explained. If you didn't check it out last week, you can check it out again now. It's at uploadvr.com, and it tells you all about all that stuff, actually. I'm not going to go into it again. It took half an hour last week. Right. Neurosurgery patients take a VR tour of their own brains. I think I mentioned that last week. VRscout.com. And I certainly mentioned the post at digitalbodies.net. VR and cars. Yes, everything on cars, cars, cars. Hopefully, VR will not be the death of us like cars. But never mind. VR and cars. Are you ready to drive around in virtual reality? Well, quite frankly, no. But apparently, some people would answer yes. Digitalbodies.net. Emery Craig reporting. Right. TechCrunch, popular site. There was this is actually 3 days ago, so I'm in the right week now, and a rather ugly looking character illustrating this article as well. Um, Adobe have acquired a company called Allegoramis. I can't pronounce that. Allegorithmic. Oh yeah,
Rhythmic. Yep.
allegorithmic, as
Yep.
in after the oh, arithmetic. No, never mind. Anyway, they make the Substance Painter tools, Substance Texture tools. They're a French company, and the tools have been widely used in games. And if I recall, there are like links to Substance Creator tools into Unity and Blender and all these other places. And obviously, Adobe apparently have been working, collaborating with this company for a while, especially with Adobe Dimensions. And something new they've got called Project Aero, but obviously collaboration only goes so far. So a company like Adobe suddenly figures, well, we'll just buy them up. It's probably easier. So they've done it. No mention of how much they paid for it, but the suspicion is they paid a lot. Right, enough said. Over the page, road2VR.com again. Live Planet launches an all-in-one system for 360 3D live streaming. Um, we obviously, we got these virtual vision, or no, what do I used to call them, 3D vision things you see on YouTube, and videos that incorporate virtual environments now, so you can sort of take off in various directions from within the film. But most of this stuff tends to have to be compiled, and there people alter it and put it online to show it off. Well, this Live Planet product is actually a live streaming system for that. In other words, be you can create a 360 stereoscopic environment, and you everything about it is live streamable. Um, uh, Whether it's something you can live stream to YouTube, or whether it requires special embedding or whatever, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, if you want to know more about that, you simply go to road2vr.com. Um, Improbable. There was a lot of fuss about Improbable's cloud platform, Spatial OS, and Unity technologies having stopping people using Spatial OS because it's cloud based and it needs a license. And Unity had revoked the license for um, Epic Games, who runs a competing thing to Unity called the Unreal Engine, stepped in to offer money to move Unity to something more open, presumably their own thing. But anyway, apparently Improbable are now actually promising long-term support for Unity, which and that Unity have actually backed down in the battle with Improbable to kind of exempt them or something. So if you are using Unity to author things that will be working on Improbable's Spatial OS backend, then all apparently is well again. So good news after a couple of weeks of public, quite literally airing their laundry in public. Right, TechCrunch.com. 4 days ago, this is an article by Philip Rosedale. Wrote this one. He of Hi-Fi and Second Life originally. Um, he asked the question, well, actually poses the question, how the new VR screen could end the smartphone. And he says the smartphone screen is the wonder of the world. It's not just this bright, colourful, and sharp. In some ways, it's as good as human biology allows. We pack so many pixels into such a small space that any more will be lost on us. In other words, we don't really need any more resolution than we can actually
Mm.
see, do we?
Mm-hmm.
A foveated, is it called foveated rendering? I think that actually does give you more pixels, but you only ever see them when they're in focus. So that works the way the human eye does. Anyway, Philip is expounding on all this. When you look through small holes, things on the other side appear blurry. This is because the ray of light passes through a hole on its way to your retinas and it spreads out a little. And anyway, he's all for explaining all this stuff for you. So very good. It's not, as far as I can see, a hi-fi publicity article. It's just, I think he writes something about once a month for, mostly on Medium, but this is actually on TechCrunch. So
Hmm.
interesting.
Yep.
Right, moving on. How to make VR with the web, a new video series called Mozilla Hacks, the web developer blog. So this you'll find at Hacks, as in hacking, but it's not hacking, if you see what I mean. It's just called, it's the column kind of thing. Hacks.mozilla.org. So that's HACKS dot MOZILLA dot and then ORG. And basically, it's a sort of teach it yourself thing. I mean, if you've been hearing us mention things like the Mozilla Lab stuff that brings 3D and WebGL and all that stuff to web pages, if you want to have a go at it yourself using various implementations of the technology, then you've got a video series showing you how to do it all. You know, this is not going to allow you to build your own OpenSim, Second Life, High Fidelity, Science Space, or anything like that, but it's the stepping stones to something basic. So you know anybody can build their own little room on the web in VR. That
Mm-hmm.
shows up as a web in a website. Right, North Focal's impressions. This is a post at Digital Trends or one word.com. Smart glasses dream of a world where you reach. Reach? Sorry, my words today are getting a bit weirdy. Weirding. Right, reach for your phone less. Um, I'm just going to open this because I think this is one I
Hmm.
was referring to minutes ago. Eventually, when it opens, James will be maybe able to show you a picture or
Yeah, yeah.
oh,
Here it
it's
comes.
yeah, there it comes. Yeah, okay. Now, last week we were talking, and I remember you mentioned it, James. We actually had two pairs of quite literally smart glasses, like the ones my avatar are wearing here,
Yeah.
which you know is the entry point for VR as far as I'm concerned, or AR, rather than any headset. I was certainly like I like the curved glasses that go round, so they create a semicircle on your face without
Mm-hmm.
being a headset, give you a wider field of view, I think. But nevertheless, proof of concept, these new ones are from North Focal. The reviewer says they're the first smart glasses he wants to wear, and succeeding where, and he quotes Google Glass faltered. We forget about Google Glass, don't
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
They look great compared to everything else on the market with similar features. The software is slick, and the bits where the glasses go in a band that attaches to your ear, that's actually quite thick because it's got hardware in it, and it's actually got two projectors in it apparently that actually project information onto the lens from the eye side of it rather than into the lens itself. So again, it's all sort of different technology, and like a smartwatch, it also serves an extension of your phone, showing you notifications and gives you the ability to access and talk to Alexa and to respond to text message. So your phone is in your pocket and you just walk down the street and technically you'll be able to do anything your phone needs to do via the glasses,
Sure.
unless it's a matter. Apparently you can even move your fingers around on the lenses to, so you've got sort of touch type thing. So it's rather interesting. And actually, I should tell you, folks, if you hear Alexa talking in the background, She's overheard me referring to and Alexa, stop. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. She's very prone to start chatting when she's not wanted.
Yeah,
Right,
right,
okay.
right.
so, so that's the North Vocals impressions for you on that. Oh, I'm getting stupid now. I've got the wrong, using the wrong mouse, wrong machine. Right, here we go. So let's just go back. Here we are. Right, voicesvr.com. There's got to be at least one a week here. Number 227, Inner Space VR talks about immersive storytelling with Firebird La Prairie. Um, this uh, this was an inaugural thing in the Space VR did. Oh no, the inauguration was 2016. Okay, well they had a sneak preview and now they got round to interviewing the guys behind it. But yeah, uh, interested in storytelling in virtual reality, there'll be something for you in that conversation, basically. And oh, guess what? We're at the end of. That doesn't seem right.
Oh my.
Well, I don't know. I tweeted something this morning. You see. Oh, yes. Oh, what am I? I must have done something wrong. Right, I missed a page. Here we go. Right. Yes, this is the one for this morning. I admit I laughed at this, but maybe I should have done something else called yawning. Apparently, there must be money around for these research things. Scientists have used yawning, as in uh, to
Now
study
everybody will
social
do it.
study social presence in VR.
Hmm.
Oh dear, I'm going to open this because the actual link is not showing. I think it's VR Scout this one, but we'll find out in a. Uh, Actually, it is. I can see at the bottom of the screen. It's
Yeah,
actually
well,
your
that
site.
that would be convincing if an avatar
Yeah,
yawning caused another avatar to yawn, or the agent behind the
yeah.
avatar to yawn.
But I don't know
Right?
how you can tell it's yawning because unless you've got a camera that can see your face yawning and then map that to the avatar so that
Yeah.
the avatar yawns, I'm not quite sure about all this. But anyway, there's a little picture James can probably show you to go with that. The real bloke is yawning, and actually, as far as I can see, his avatar is not yawning.
Hmm.
So, go figure. And is there another picture? Well, pretty much the same thing. Oh, that's a video. Contagious yawning in virtuality. And anyway, it's all very amusing. In fact, it's so amusing that I just think we should have a look at this, shouldn't
Oh
we?
my. Okay.
Oh, oh well, this is good. No sound. Anyway, it's a picture of somebody yawning. Go figure. Okay, enough is enough. We're
Hmm.
not going any further with that. Okay. Right. VLScout.com, Alice Panaccio, of course. Article Esports continues its push towards VR. Now, esports, by and large, is referring to real world sporting things that have a VR connection, or possibly, as you can see in the picture here, where you probably can't see it. Let's see what we can do about that. You basically have two competitors or collaborators in what they call treadmills and various contraptions. Most of these people are doing physical activity, which probably qualifies as sport. I won't swear to that, but I think it does. And so they're able to use their feet, their legs, their waist, and their head, and their hands, and everything in virtuality, and probably kick balls around at each other or something like that, as sports people want to do. Nothing new about this. Years ago in Second Life, IBM rigged it so that they actually had a Wimbledon match. It was sort of done the other way. They had positioning on all the actual professional tournament players at Wimbledon, and they recreated the exact moves in Second Life for a Second Life audience. Watching. It was a wee bit laggier than the tennis court at Wimbledon tends to be, but not too bad. Um, so these are basically what people are calling esports. Um, we're probably nearing a time when there'll be some virtuality VR. sport itself, which will overlap into that esport. For example, if you have an exercise bike at the moment with a headset rigged to it, it's not a sport. Well, it's a sport cycling really. You can maybe race, and you see a fictional thing in your headset to distract you from the fact that you're in a room on an exercise bike pedaling to nowhere, or rather the nearest wall. Um, but it's certainly physically demanding. So there's a great deal of overlap on its way eventually too, I think. Right, virtual reality is also about to unlock a disruptive new world of possibilities. Where have I heard that before?
Mm.
This is a post at IB Times. That's IBTIMES.com.or. Com is for com, and for some reason, lots of coms have all after them. That means they're in Australia. So it's .com .or, which is simply AU. And once again, I'm going to pop in here briefly. This is actually about some software. I believe it's called Beachhead. If I don't understand why Windows takes so long to load these things. Right. It's meant to be fast. Right, virtual reality is about to unlock. There we are. Beachhead. It's not a game, it's the future of reality. Well, that's a catch line. I
Mm.
think other
Mm.
people have come up with that in the past. But they're creating a blockchain powered virtual reality. And let me see. Right, they're talking about Elon Musk, which is nothing to do with it to start with. Constraints of the physical world have limited economic growth for too long. Beachhead is creating a blockchain powered virtual reality in which anyone can prosper, make connections, take part in heart pounding virtual reality gameplay, and explore compelling, high intensity entertainment. I don't cover him so much as I used to, but there is actually a blogger called Ryan Schultz who endeavors to do a little intro piece on every virtual world that comes up these days, and that can amount to quite a lot per week. And he seems to include quite a lot of new ventures that probably not as developed on the software side as this Beachhead one looks. But they're building virtual worlds that rely on the blockchain, and ultimately you're going to be able to own pieces of land, maybe that is your real world land, and you pay for it in blockchain money or something. And but yeah, apparently there's one place which has nothing there yet, and people will pay $1,000 for a square inch of it. Absolute nonsense in my opinion, but
Mm.
nothing so strange as people really is. Now, there's an English expression here. There is nought so strange as folk. Am I a Scottish expression, actually?
Okay.
It's quite a good one, though. You want to find something strange? Just find some other person somewhere. Right.
Mm. Mm. Thank you.
They're out there.
Yep.
There's nothing as strange as people. Right. Innovative medical VR projects are transforming pediatric care. Again, this is more health news. Cute little picture of a baby. Well, a bit of a big baby, but never a baby. That's more or less a baby. Wearing a headset that is far too big for him. He's having to hold it on, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
And his nurse or whatever helping him. um, you might see medical simulations described as the low hanging fruit of VR adoption.
Hmm.
That's an interesting
Mm-hmm.
expression. Anyway, you find out more about that at digitalbodies.net. And here's another one. Embody brings cooperative VR well-being to Sundance. Right, we did the yawning. Okay, this is actually the last article in this section, so to speak. So we'll get it open quickly before my time runs out. I don't think this is actually really a social world, more of an experience. Um, yeah, it's a VR title called Embody, and it guides users through a one-of-a-kind cooperative journey that assists users in developing genuine sense of physical embodiment. And it looks very nice and pretty and stuff like that. Having been shown at Sundance, this is probably very much a standalone experience. Sundance, after all, is a film festival, and although they've widened their sphere of reference to include VR, it's obviously um, uh, examples of VR from the narrative perspective, which attract film festivals
Mm.
rather than you know, empty rooms like we go to where we start from scratch and collaborate. There's nothing gracefully narrative about that, except for those of us participating. Film festivals want a story of sorts, or at least an experience that resembles narrative. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my front page and I'm going to just pop into the Metaworld stream, which I mentioned at the beginning. Hot off the press this morning, Islands, spelled with a Z grid, is closing down shortly. You can find more about this today at Daniel Voyager, that's DanielVoyager.wordpress.com. He's all, basically, there used to be a grid called Inworlds. It was based on OpenSim's original code, but it had its own engine called the Halcyon engine. And it went out of business, not really through its own fault, some time ago. And eventually it relaunched a couple of months ago as Islands. But I guess the gap between the relaunch and everything has been too long. I think they've got about 1,000 um, occupants, as it were, the new island grid. But Eleanor, who runs it, has announced in Discord earlier today, in fact, that the grid is not sustainable and they're not even remotely close to breaking even.
Mm.
So it's going. What should you say? I'm going to throw this out here now. The grid is not sustainable. We knew our break-even point was not even remotely close. I'm being evicted from my home. Date of the move is February 11th. My mother's being evicted because I'm. Oh. Uh, okay. It sounds like a rather emotional post from Ellen there. It sounds like it's not just to do with the island grid, but also real life consequences of trying to run a non-sustainable grid, maybe.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, it is going, so that is very sad news indeed. It was in Worlds and Islands, using the Halcyon engine and things has always been on a sort of leading edge, sort of forerunner of things to come there. And as far as I can tell, there is actually a Halcyon group on Discord I will check out, but as far as I can tell, this will be the last instance of a grid online using the Halcyon engine. But more on that as we find out about it. But our commiserations to Anna there. And she has been on various shows here in the past, so I'm sure we haven't seen the last of her.
Mm.
Right, 4 days ago, hgtraveler.com. This is Leighton Marjoram's blog, or one of them. He had a post on the fantastical realm of Mythos, Mythos, which is known as a 3 by 3 var region, which means it's a single region the size of 9 um, classical regions, is what I would say. And yes, it's on OS Grid. And if you were watching our channel this time last week, we had Leighton on the show along with Cataplexia Numbers. They were actually talking about the forthcoming festival, but Cataplexia is actually behind this region called Mythos. So there you go. I'm just scrolling through the posts. Oh, actually, there. I'll move down there. A whole load of pictures for James to show you all at once. And oh, guess what? Continue sharing. I'm reaching my time limit on picture sharing. Anyway, yes, that looks nice and colourful, doesn't it? So that's Mythos on OS Grid. Okay, we will just flip that from there. Um, yep, actually, that's it. That's it. That's it. We can say goodbye there. So
Oh,
I've got
okay.
I've got a couple of seconds left of my screen share, so I think we're safe today. Um, any other news that I can think of? Not particularly. Um, I would say that my nice mesh avatar that I don't use for this program actually is now fully working and lip flapping in high fidelity, so I'm pleased about
Ah,
that.
okay.
And Metaworld have actually started building. Well, it's called putting the stage down on the grass. at the Open Fest, which is going to be happening on first, second, 3rd of March. So we're putting a little stage there, and who knows, we might even do some kind of outside broadcast that weekend for your delectation and viewing pleasure, as I'm supposed to say. Right, James, anything got you excited? Anything perked up, or any criticisms or whatever from today's roundup?
No, no. The the AR glasses, that we're seeing a lot of emerge now, are
Yeah.
I'm still really curious to know, might they be able to verge into VR? So could you have a good set of AR and then put a piece of tape on the lenses and have some VR? I'm not sure, but it's interesting watching the
I,
two technologies grow at the same time.
My feeling is it's down to the hardware specs and where it's running from.
Yeah.
When I'm walking around with my iPhone these days, it's in my pocket, and I never liked, sometimes I couldn't hear it or get it out or anything, and I kept missing calls and things. Well, now
Mm.
I got the Apple Watch, and I basically just lift my wrist up and tell it to answer. So I
Mhm.
never even touched the phone. I just talk into the watch, and the speaker in the watch is just it's loud enough to hear one person talking.
Mhm.
But also I can take it to load maps, and I don't use it fully, but basically I can just pull the wrist up to my mouse and basically control aspects of the phone. Only a subset of functions. Now that one we looked at today, for example, talks about connecting, talking to Alexa and connecting to things on your phone. And I have a feeling that my belief, and I don't know whether any of the ones we've looked at recently really fulfill this, but just as our listening to audio was transformed by the Walkman and having the idea of a machine that played the thing from your pocket, but you listen through your headphones. Now, to me, the VR function and actually possibly the AR function of these things is that ease of use. So instead of putting a pair of headphones on your ears to listen to music, you put a pair of glasses on to experience a visual environment.
Mhm.
And if that is a see-through environment and you're getting overlays of information, that is one thing. I think that's what they more call augmented reality. Even though the overlays are no longer just restricted to text and messages, they're things like dinosaurs walking around your real world living room. Um, I think a lot has to do with they're going to function in the streets as glasses, so they're going to be transparent. And if you've got technologies that overlay opaque bits on the transparency, then you're mixing the two. But whether you could actually take, how should I say, the lenses, whatever you call them, on a pair of glasses, and have a way of rendering them completely opaque to display VR, I think it's another question. Also, I think the glasses would need to be a lot more circular. In other words, it wouldn't be a headset; they'd just have side bits, so you
Mhm.
got more of a wide view. But my way of thinking of it is like the audio headphones. The audio headphones do nothing except have speakers in your ears, right? All the playback and everything else is done from your Walkman or these days your phone or whatever. Now, I actually see a pair of glasses, maybe it'd be a separate one for AR and VR, that literally are a screen you wear on your face. All the working, processing and everything, it would be done by the smartphone they're plugged into. So basically, the glasses would simply be a plug-in screen, just as earphones are plug-in speakers. And all the work will be done by the thing in your pocket. It may work by wirelessly or via Bluetooth or something as well, so you've got no cables, but nevertheless, it will be, the iPhone or whatever doing the work. And phones, as we know, they're powerful machines these days. They are computers in your pocket. And so, so long as the glasses could render a screen in front of you a good enough resolution, then you don't really have to worry about anything else. Maybe the loop, the hook where it goes over your ears could have a built-in headphone, so you don't have to wear headphones too, that sort of thing. But glasses should be enough. Now for VR, I've got to admit, I think glasses should be enough for that too. My only slight problem is sort of visualizing how I can have something that's opaque so that I would be able to have virtual reality without the see-through, yet also have some degree of transparency so that I can see, I can see where I'm going, so that I can read the text message without bumping into the person in front of me, kind of thing. So there has to be a technology therefore that can shift. It might be that eventually we'll have a frame, and there'll be two frames that you can put into the two viewing bits that you can put into the same frame. One will be a transparent augmented reality viewer, and the other will be a fully opaque VR viewer. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, yeah,
But I certainly think size-wise, it's got to be like this before anybody's going to take it up. And also, the price has got to be cheap. It's got to come into the public focus a bit like Sony Walkmans did. Back in the days when it was just cassette tape. We already had the cassette tapes. The content was there, but it just provided a new mobile way of doing things. And it wasn't a hassle to plug headphones in, and it never has been ever since. Although arguably these days people aren't showing off giant headphones again instead of the old earpieces we used to have.
yeah. So Mal,
Um,
Mal,
yeah.
if headphones gave rise to earbuds, will glasses give rise to iBuds?
Well, don't actually. Yeah, it's funny in a way, but don't laugh at
Hmm.
it because there have already been prototypes of contact lenses to do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Not for VR, but for AR. We if it was, I don't like the idea of sticking things in my eyes. Maybe one day I'll have to get contact lenses because I already have to wear glasses to read and see my screen and things.
Yeah, yeah.
So the idea of putting a pair of glasses on is nothing new to me. But even people who don't need to wear eyepieces of any sort, put sunglasses on, sunshades on in the summer.
Hmm.
It's not a major effort to do. You get in the case, you unfold them, you put them on. And it's as easy to put a pair of glasses on as it is to put a pair of earbuds in your ears. In fact, in many cases, the earbuds are so finicky to fit into your ears without
Hmm.
falling out that it's harder than putting a pair of glasses on. But we won't go there. Um, I don't know. Even the Oculus people at Facebook and whatever have always said the end game is something small and wearable, but it's not just something compact and wearable. It's the sort of stigma that goes with them. It's got to be cool to plug in glasses as an extra screen for your phone. Just as I can walk along and I can answer a voice call using my watch, then maybe I could walk along and answer a video call, you know, using the glasses. It's still all happening on my phone via WhatsApp, Skype, or whatever, but the video component will be available in my eyes, and it could either be sort of translucent, against a transparent background, where so it doesn't block my real view, or it could be fully VR. There's obviously a difference in how you'd use them. You wouldn't, I imagine, be walking down the high street looking at all the augmented reality pop-ups from every shop you pass, which may be a bloody nuisance as well. Maybe you can turn it off. I don't know, but you wouldn't immediately want to switch to VR there because you wouldn't better go in the shop and see. You couldn't walk down the street without bumping into people either. So, we need to retain that vision of the real world when we're strictly calling up augmented information or visuals. But yeah, I think they hold the future for VR too. I can't see why because if you put an Oculus, like I've got the Oculus Go thing, a great big bloody contraption, but when I actually look at the lenses and the things that are actually interacting with my eyes, they're actually not much bigger than a pair of glasses already. It's all the you know chunks of plastic by which I strap it to my face that's taking up the room, and I don't imagine. Well, there is mechanisms in there, but we're pretty damn good at making our circuit boards and processors the size of a pinhead these days. We make them smaller and smaller. So I think it's a matter of time. I suspect it can already be done, but people are holding back until they've sold off all the stocks of the bulky stuff. Or something like that. Anyway, I'm what am I doing? I'm opinionating again.
iBuds. We said it here first, everybody.
iBuds, yeah. iBud, iBud, your new contact lens.
Right.
Something like that. Yes, we said it here first, and yeah, even if they don't, even if they come along and don't take off, you can bet your life somebody is gonna think, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I've had an idea."
Indeed.
Would okay, folks? Messages for next week, right? Would you or would you not participate in a crowdfunder for iBuds, even if, let's say, the retail price is going to be $50? Right. Your answers, please, on the postcard to
Goodness.
the Hyperverse Limbo. No, actually, you can write to us at inworldreview.com. Um, I don't know, just put mail or info or something at inworldreview.com, and that's the quickest way to get it, I guess. Hey, no, we should have a quiz every week
Mm.
or a challenge or something, shouldn't we? Right. So, your thoughts, please. Would you crowdfund iBuds, whatever they might be, for that matter? Okay, that's enough. I think we're out here, aren't we, James?
Think we've done it. Yep.
So it's goodbye from you,
And it's goodbye from you.
which just about says it all. We two are one, as far as the news is concerned, anyway, and we will return together as one next week. Same time, same place, same venue. No, it's the same thing. Goodbye. Have a good week. Yes.